Have you ever wanted to add something to your routine or start a new routine and it was just felt completely impossible? Well, for the past few months, I've really been trying to start a routine of doing 100 burpees every single day so I can make a video for you about how I did 100 burpees a day for X amount of time, and this is how it made me feel. And I have had so much trouble doing this, which is why I created this episode for you today. How habit stacking has transformed my routine. I have added many things to my morning routine over the years. And these 3 steps that I'm going to share with you today are the only steps that I have been able to use in my life to actually have the new actions that I take on a daily basis stick in my routine. There's been many things that I've added, from doing my EFT every single morning, which is my tapping techniques for my nervous system, to doing morning workouts no matter how long. I have also integrated cold showers and meditation on and off over the years into my routine by following these 3 practices. And this goes beyond doing morning routines. One of the most powerful things that I've integrated into my life in the past 6 months has been implementing what Dr. Benjamin Hardy and Dan Sullivan of Strategic Coach teach in The Gap in the Game. And that is, at the end of every single day, coming up with 3 wins for the day and coming up with 3 wins that you want tomorrow. I have tried to integrate this into my life multiple times over the past 5 years, and typically here's how it would look. I would do it for about a week, maybe 2, maybe 3 weeks, and then it would go away. Well, over the last 3 to 6 months, I have done this almost daily because of the 3-step habit stacking process inspired by James Clear's book, Atomic Habits. Here is what it looks like. Step 1 of my process is to pick one thing that you already do on a consistent basis throughout your days. What is one thing you already do? This may be the most important step in the entire process. In the past, what I would do is come up with, hey, this is the morning routine. I want to get up, review my goals, journal, gratitudes, work out, eat something healthy, cold shower, and get to work. I'm going to integrate these 7 things into my life. You know how hard that is? If you haven't built the habit of any one of these things, trying to integrate all 7 of these things is going to do a disservice to you and the longevity of your habits that you are looking to stack. This is one of the biggest mistakes I see people make. So what I like to do now is pick one thing I'm already doing. This is where we start. We start with what we are already doing. And be careful though, because if you're picking something that isn't actually already a habit, then the rest of this process is going to fall by the wayside. We want to pick something that is already established. And it may not be the habit that you want to be established, but it could be something like, for example, showering. Since I was a kid, like to take showers multiple times a day. Don't know why, but I like it. So that is where I like to start. So I pick something like showering. Maybe for you, it's brushing your teeth. Maybe it's cooking a meal at a specific time. Maybe it is checking your phone. It could be a bad habit too. We just want to pick something that you already do. Now, a pro tip here is, if you have 2 habits that you already do that happen one after another, so let's say that you have the habit of brushing your teeth and showering, and they happen right after one another, then you could select both of these and then move to step 2. Once you pick that habit that we're going to use as a starting point, or those 2 habits that we're going to use to ultimately insert our new habit in between, then we need to move to step 2, which is starting with the most basic version of the new habit. When you are integrating a new habit into your life, we want to make it easy. It is extremely hard to go from doing something never to doing something every single day. So when I was looking at, hey, I want to do 100 burpees a day, and I've looked at this so many times in my life, I went from not doing 100 burpees a day to being like, you know what, I'm going to do 100 burpees a day. And I actually got step one done correctly, where I picked a habit that I've already been doing, which is, brushing my teeth or even taking a shower, and then inserting this habit before or after those things. But my brain started bargaining with me, saying, you're not going to do 100 burpees. I don't want to do 100 burpees. There's way too many burpees. So this is why you want to start with a basic version of the habit. Same thing with running. Maybe you want to start running and you're like, you know what? I'd love to run 5 miles a day, 3 to 5 times a week. Well, if you want to start running, then what you should really do is start with 1 mile, maybe 2 or 3 times a week. You want to give yourself a basic version that you cannot fail with. So what I've done is I've changed this from I'm going to do 100 burpees a day to I'm going to do at least 10 burpees a day. So that's a lot different than 100. And what I find is I always do more than 10. But I don't always do 100. I actually, most of the time, don't do more than 25. But I'm building the habit of doing burpees every single day now. And it's because I'm starting with a much more basic version of the habit. And the pro tip I have for you here is just because you have a basic version of the habit doesn't mean that you need to confine yourself to just achieving the basic version. So for me, I have been doing burpees almost every single day for the past 2 or 3 weeks. I think I missed 1 day. And that's because my goal is to do 10 burpees. And like I said, the reason why I do this is because it's easy for me to be like, okay, right before I shower, I'm gonna do 10 burpees. So I start doing the burpees and all of a sudden I'm on number 7 and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna do 25. And I went all the way up to 55 burpees. Well, this morning, everything clicked. I'm like, you know what? I'm already at 50. I may as well do another 50 and just hit 100. And then I did an extra 5, so I did 105 burpees. Well, I did 105 burpees because my goal was to do 10. And then I started feeling so good that I got up to 105. But that doesn't mean I have to do 105 tomorrow, because that's the other thing that happens is once you do it one day, you're like, okay, I did it today. Now I got to do it tomorrow. Now I got to do it the next day. Until your brain can look at the thing as something that's really easy, it's going to be hard for you to do it day after day after day. That's why I stick with 10 burpees, because my brain is like, great, I'll do 10 tomorrow. And if I only do 10 tomorrow, I'm not going to shame myself for doing 10 tomorrow because I did 100 today. So that is why you want to start with the most basic version. Now, step 3, we take the new habit and we insert it before or after the habit we already have. So for me, I chose the habit showering. Like, I shower every day. I shower multiple times a day. I'm going to insert doing 10 burpees right before I get in the shower. It's pretty cool because now I think as I'm about to get in the shower, oh, I need to do 10 burpees. Well, the other thing I've done, and this was a pro tip for all this, is I've set it up so that I do 10 burpees after any workout that I do. So that's another thing I do really well almost every day is working out. And I just so happen to shower after I work out. So what I've done is I have set it up so that I work out, I do 10 burpees, and then I shower. Now, I don't always shower right after working out, but the great thing about this is I have 2 triggers. I have working out as a trigger, and I have showering as a trigger. I have working out as my before trigger and showering as my after trigger. And since I have this empowers me to get the burpees done. And you can do this with any habit. And once you start stacking, and this is what James Clear talks about with habit stacking, is once you start stacking habits, we can stack more habits in between. We can stack the fact that I start with a hot shower and then I go with a cold shower. But I know that I'm going to get a little bit of a hot shower first and then I go to a cold shower. That's how I started doing cold showers. Is I was like, I'm going to do hot, then I'm going to turn it to cold, and I'll do cold. That was how I habit stacked my cold showers. Now, what I've done in general is set things up where I know what I do next. So that's the simplest way that I have found to integrate new habits into my life, and how I am going to eventually make a video that says, I did 100 burpees for X amount of days, here's what happened. Now, if you want to take this to the next level, I have my 3 Pillars of Healthy Living guide free for you, linked in the YouTube description or in the show notes if you're listening to this as a podcast. The 3 Pillars of Healthy Living are movement, tracking, and accountability. And by integrating these 3 habits into your life, moving on a daily basis, that could be doing 10 burpees, that could be taking a walk, that could be whatever it is, and inserting that in between habits that you already have, this is going to create amazing results for you. Dr. Peter Attia's research has shown that movement on a consistent basis throughout your week decreases all-cause mortality rates by 35%. All-cause mortality rates. There is no better thing that you can do that does that. So I highly recommend you integrate movement into your life. Then we want to integrate tracking, and tracking really builds the habit of whatever you track expands. Whatever you focus on expands. That's why we track. And then accountability. When you have an accountability partner, when you help someone else keep accountability, this amplifies things even further. So go grab my 3 Pillars of Healthy Living guide. It's going to take you less than a couple minutes to read and start integrating into your life. Grab it, linked below, or go over to www.athletewithasthma.com/healthy-living-guide to grab your copy today. I'll see you in the next episode.